So we are here again with Mr. X, the mastermind, the myth, the man behind the product, or the guy with the new communications app for the world. And this time, I wanted to have a conversation with you again because the last conversation went very well, and I would like to ask you some more personal questions this time. So,
Sure, go ahead.
okay, so I have some questions for you. Maybe, just answer them to the best of your abilities, and let's see, how far we get with this. One of my first questions is, if you had to define yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Well, perseverance would be one of them. Of course, that is who I am. Discreet. I value privacy already from the day I was born. Let's say that. But privacy is very important. Mind your own business, I always say to others, even when I was a child. And consistent. When I wake up, then I'm online and I do my things till I go to sleep and then I'm offline. I don't have a temper. I don't have mood swings or whatever. I'm always the same. So like a computer, you switch it on, it works, and then you switch it off and it is going to sleep.
That's really impressive, to be honest, because, one of the biggest struggles that people, humans have is the struggle of the constant thoughts that we have. We always in the future, we always in the past, we always worried, we always overthinking. And if you kind of already mastered your emotions to where you don't have to have these thoughts, you just wake up and you have your mission and you execute your mission and then you start your day again next day. That's actually very impressive because I think it takes a lifetime to get to that.
Yeah, there's a slight error in your reasoning because I do not master my emotions. I simply don't have them or don't feel them that strong. It is that I do my utmost best to, how do you say that? To, with empathy, to check what my emotions should be so that I can respond accordingly.
Okay, so you basically figured out a system to where it doesn't take up a lot of time of your day to figure out your mood for today, if that makes sense.
I don't have any moods, so I'm also not mood swings. So I have only one mood, one status, and that's online. But I spend a lot of time learning how these emotion things works in others because I'm a nerd. I'm just a computer nerd. And I can behave like normal because I learned to behave like normal. I learned what it is, not that I feel it, because I see all people are natural talents. They see and understand emotions instantly. But me, I think, that's totally illogical. Why is he doing that? Especially as a kid, I thought I must be crazy, or all the others are crazy because I didn't understand what was going on at all. Later, I try to learn what it was to be, for instance, mad. I don't go mad. I never had a fight in my life. As long as I live, I never had a fight with anyone. If there's a fight, I see it as a roadblock, I go around it. I don't care what they think. I don't care who wins or whatever. It is just a roadblock standing in my way. I have to find a solution. I go around it. And I'm not the guy, because I see other guys who have been confronted with a similar situation. They see a roadblock and they think, who the fuck put that roadblock there? I will show him here who's in charge. I don't care if I show him who's in charge, or actually who is in charge, because I have a mission. I have to go to the other side. I just go around it. It's problem solved.
If you didn't have to go out of your way to learn this, then that means you are maybe born in this way. So maybe this is what makes you special or different compared to a normal guy who's born with all of these emotions and stress and internal conflicts, and you don't have these things. So maybe that's why you have more ability to focus in on what it is that you want to achieve, opposed to another person who has to think about it and go over it with his emotions and his feelings and wants to change basically the outcome, and you just say it is what it is, and if I cannot change it, there's no reason for me to fight it. So you just figure out a way to go around, if I'm understanding correctly.
Actually, I see no reason to fight at all, because usually fights end up like there's somebody winning, but they have to ask themselves, what is he winning? He's now on the first place. He's standing there first at the row, or what? What is his mission? What is his goal? I always think, what do I want? I want to go there. How do I go there? I cannot go there. Okay, go around it and you are there. You'll reach your goal. Easy.
That's
What
really
fight?
good. That's really good. So do you feel, maybe to just elaborate on this one more second, do you think that this is something that you were just basically born with? Yeah, like even you said as a kid, you never really cared about anything like this too much. You know, other kids maybe, hey, I'm the first one who gets to the store wins this candy or whatever, and you just didn't care about the candy or winning, so you just went your own route, and you know, maybe all the kids run this way, and you saw something that you really cared about over here, so you didn't care about being part of the group too much. You just cared about going your own direction.
Yeah, exactly. I always have been an exception. I could not go along with madness, as I called it. It is, I have three things. There is or a positive, a go, a yes, and that is I'm very determined to go there. There is a don't care, and there is a no. Now, absolutely, I don't want to go there. I will do everything not to go there. 99.9% of the things are don't care. They don't really care. And if you don't really care, why should you get emotionally involved or try to do anything? Because it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah, I think, you know, I believe it was Einstein who did something similar as far as clothing goes, or like you see this with very high, how you say, high value or high energy people or high production people like Elon Musk or like Michael Jackson or this how you say his name, Einstein is like with the clothing, for instance, right? Einstein had a thing where he had the same outfit with the same colors every day. That way he knows when I wake up, I don't have to worry about thinking, how do I feel today? What do I wear? This color, that color, does it match the shoes? No. He wakes up, he puts the same outfit, he's ready to go, ready for action. I believe Michael Jackson did this because he learned it from Einstein. And since I know you so far, I've seen you with the same outfit every time, which means you also don't waste any time with unnecessary things. So this is one thing I noticed about you.
I have several outfits, several suits. They all like this, all the same. I have some variation because I have white shirts and I have black shirts. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I believe he had three colors as well. I think Michael Jackson had white, black, and red, and that's all he would wear all the time for a certain period of time once he learned this. But yeah, the next question that I had was, what motivates Mr. X to keep on going and wake up every morning, you know, and have the same drive as yesterday? Because many people, after maybe one or two fails, or if something happens to them, they just give up or they don't want to continue. That's why there are not many greats in the world. Maybe 3% actually have a mission and complete it. Most people, they give up. So what is it that motivates you?
I can hardly imagine that the listeners or the viewers are interested to hear or see this, but I can tell you, I have a mission, I have a goal, and I work on my goals. So if I have to go to bed, it means my time is up. I have to go to sleep, because if I don't sleep, and I always go to bed at 22 o'clock, so I'm not a night worker. So 22 o'clock, my time is up. And in the morning, usually between 6 and 7, I wake up and I continue, because I have something to do. It's not finished, so I continue where I left off.
Nice. So basically,
It's simple.
basically you could say that a man with a mission has the reason to wake up. So that's maybe for the reason, because you said maybe the audience doesn't care, but I think there are young guys, maybe 17, 18, 19. They see, you know, someone like you are motivated with your mission. Some of these guys don't know where to go, where to start. But if they would find a goal that they are passionate about, then it's hard to become depressed, or it's hard to become slowed down in life. Because I think a lot of young men don't have a vision or a goal, so it's easy for them to just drift and become, lazy or depressed. But if you have a mission and a goal like you, then there's a reason to be motivated to wake up.
Actually, I'm a very boring guy. What I did do in the past is I sit on a chair behind a PC with many screens, and I developed communication apps. So actually that is pretty boring. There were all kind of things happening around me. People told me, even unwanted, about their adventures, about their things, about what happened, and their extraordinary stories, of course. But yeah, I also value privacy. So I thought, yeah, you tell it to me. Why are you telling it to me? But okay.
You don't care. Basically, don't care.
Yeah, I wrote a book about it, and that book is called War on Privacy. Later, it is intended to be a series on a major streaming platform, and there will be 16 episodes and 4 seasons. So it's quite a lot, because the people told me a lot. And in the prison time, I had time to write it all. I had a laptop, and I thought, why not? I was making the continuation of my communication apps. I developed further, and I have written War on Privacy. And that is a very exciting story. If you see that, it's more like a James Bond movie than like the life of a simple nerd programmer, or whatever they call me. But my life is pretty boring, but I don't care. I just do what I have to do to reach my goals. And if young people look at me and they want to improve their lives, the first thing they need to do is, what is your goal? Ask yourself that question, because that is very important. If you don't want anything in life, then life will not be anything. So you have to have a goal. Of course, you can join my mission. You can join CREO. That's very easy to do. Just go to the CREO.ws website and become a member of the community. Try to get involved. Try to make improvements. Try to contact the support team. Try to be a part of the support team. Try to involve yourself into the development of CREO and into the future of privacy, how communication is shaped. So that is, if you don't know anything to do, do this, because you help yourself and you help the rest of the world and you help me. So I appreciate all people that help me. But if you have something else, you want to be a second-hand car salesman, or you want to be whatever, a singer, or you want to be a boxer, doesn't care. If you determined to do that, and you have to have a good reason, because you feel good, you want that, you really, really, really want that, you have to do everything for it to get it. And everything, I mean everything in your power. And if there's a roadblock, you go around it, because it's no use standing in front of the roadblock, calling people names because the roadblock is there, or they caused the roadblock to be there. That is absolutely nonsense. It's a waste of time. Just go around the roadblock and the roadblock is gone out of your life. It never comes back. Time flows in one direction only.
It's interesting what you said about having a goal, and then basically you described having a burning desire to reach the goal. And in order to have this burning desire to reach the goal, you actually have to have the belief that your goal can be reached. So this is actually the formula of very successful people. There's a guy named Napoleon Hill. I used to read the books about him and about what he was teaching the world. There's a very famous book. It's called Think and Grow Rich. But rich is not actually rich in money, it's rich in life. And he explains that you can have anything in life if you follow these 3 steps, what you just said. You said you have to have a goal, you have to have the belief that the goal is reachable, and you have to have a burning desire to do anything, whatever it takes to get there. So you are actually following the formula of very successful people. I don't know if you are doing this like consciously, or if you just doing it because that's how you, from the inside out. but this is actually the formula. So I really appreciate the insight.
Yeah, well, it is that I see that these are the things necessary to reach the goal. Also, you have to ask yourself not only what do I want, but also why do I want it? Because that is also very important. I want to go to the disco. Yeah, is that a goal? Why do I want it? Yeah, I like to dance. I feel good. Yeah, is that really a target? Is it really a goal? Well, it is one, but yeah, you better ask yourself, what do I really want in life? Not what do I want to do today and tomorrow it's something else, you know? You have to be persistent. If you say, okay, I want to be a painter, then that's already something. But why do you want to be a painter? Are you having a certain gift? Can you do it actually really good? Can you do it better than the others? Because if I want to be, for instance, a singer and my voice is horrible, then I can want it as much as I want. The others will still think it's horrible, so I will never reach my goal. It's nice trying, but yeah, it is useless. You have to do something that you already are convinced I can do that. For instance, when I was a multimillionaire already, I sold all my shops. I had computer shops, I sold them, and I bought a bunker. And then I sat in the bunker. I think, well, now let's get in the crew. I want to renovate this place. I want to make it something beautiful. Now the crew was there and we're busy. And then what? What do I do? Sit in the bunker, and when it's finished, the renovations are finished, it's beautiful, and then I sit in it, and then what?
No purpose.
You know? Yeah, no purpose. Then I looked around me, and then there was a guy, also a brilliant guy, but this guy has a problem because sometimes the border between madness and geniuses is very narrow. By this guy, he is absolutely, how do you say that? He's a crazy genius. He's really, yeah, there's no other, how do you say that?
Like
What's
a mad
the-
scientist.
Like a mad, but not mad, really mad. Really, really mad. I mean, when I say really,
Slightly
then
crazy.
really. Not slightly, he's really. He's also really a genius. He's the best hacker I know. And immediately he said, oh, Xentt, you have to make a data center here. Then I thought, why is he saying that? Is that a good, that's a good idea. Let's do that. But a data center, yeah, pretty boring. If you install a few servers and serve a few customers, then you have seen it. In my thing, I want to create stuff. I'm a creator and not a guy who wants to make a living. And then I thought, also, the same guy pointed me in a direction of privacy, because he told me a story that in Singapore, they were robbing data, and that was in the year 2000. And then they did do that by very genius plan. Eh? He said they were genius, they were so good, but they were absolutely stupid, because there was a guy sitting in a plane with a black suit and a parachute. The plane was announcing a mayday to the tower because they have to fly over a certain building. They say that their rudder was stuck. They could not maneuver anymore. And while that was going on, the guy jumped exactly at the right location, jumped out of the plane, and then the plane reported to the tower. The technical issue was gone. The plane was, they could control the plane and they could fly on. Nobody see that somebody dropped out of the plane. He was landing on a helipad on one of these high-rise buildings. I don't know the English word for it, but
repelled.
abseilen.
Yeah, he repelled.
Yeah, to the facade of the building at, I don't know what floor. He cut a circle out of the glass. He break in the office. It was at night. Nobody was there. Only security was there. And then he took his phone and was delegated to the right PC, because there were all PCs with hard drives in it. The right PC, he opened the PC, took the hard drive, put it in his bag, put everything back, then went to the restroom, changed his clothes because he had a jumpsuit, make a business suit, like he was one of the employees, and wanted to walk out just to the front door. But then when he opened the door of the toilet, let's say that, he looked into the guns of the security. And he was astonished. How did they find him, you know? And then they take out his phone from his breast pocket. And he said, you talk too much. And what that implemented, they were listening in on his phone conversation. They knew that he was in the building. They knew exactly where he was because they, and then they waited till he go to the restroom to change. And then they arrest him.
Wow. So basically, if he used CREO or if he used one of your apps to communicate, this would have never happened, basically. But this sounds like a movie scene. This sounds like this is a person you know, or this is a story that you heard about the Singapore thing.
This is what he told me at that time. And that is also how war on privacy starts. It starts exactly with this recording. This is a real story, happened in the year 2000. And Sven, that's the name of the mad genius, was telling me that. And he was telling me that because to show me how stupid they were to tell anything over the phone, because you can know already that they are listening in. And he said, how could they know? Well, they're listening in to everyone. Listen, everyone?
That means me too.
Yeah, unbelievable that they do that. And there was none of my apps. I didn't have any idea what should I do next. And then I thought it would be a very good idea to protect people's privacy, because these guys, okay, they did do something against the law. But there are many people, they listen also to all the others, and they don't do anything against the law. And I don't think that is, I find it illegal to listen into people who are not being a criminal, you know? They listen into, let's say, 99.999% of the people who don't commit any crimes. And then the 0.0001%, yeah, they catch. Yeah, I thought, this is crazy. This has to end. And then I wanted to make a communication app, which was that they could not listen into. And this Sven, this mad genius, said, "Wah, you cannot do that. All the communication apps that are already there are shit. And they all have a backdoor or something similar. And you cannot never do that." I said, now I'm determined to do that.
Yeah, that's actually one of the problems still today. You said this was a problem in year 2000. Now we in 2025. One of the biggest, the richest men in the world, computer tech genius, whatever, Elon Musk, just released Xentt, and basically wants to eliminate the problem of like the backdoors to encryption and all these things. He created the app where you don't even use cell phone numbers anymore, and it's like a direct communication peer-to-peer, kind of like Bitcoin, kind of like basically what you explained in other interviews. That's how CREO will operate, where it's a peer-to-peer system. It's decentralized. It doesn't have any data that is saved anywhere. And so that means that this problem is still a problem. And if you have the solution to this problem, I think that this will help the world a lot. Another thing I would say is that you touched base on a lot, like maybe 3 or 4 of my questions already. So I just want to, for the audience listening, bring it back together. What made you want to get into privacy, or what made you want to pursue your mission of creating an app or something for private communications? You just explained it. The Sven guy came, he told you a story that everyone is being surveillanced, and you said that cannot be. There has to be a way around this obstacle. Like you said before, there's an obstacle, we go around it. And then you went and you figured out a way to go around it. So this is one of the, that was one of the questions. Another question that I had was the bunker thing. You know, I said in here in my questions that I heard in one of your other interviews that your fascination with bunkers came very early, because I believe your home was close to a bunker and you played around the bunker. And then maybe one day you said, if I ever have enough money or the opportunity, I will get my own bunker. So one of the questions that I have is, what was the feeling of you, or like, what was the moment like, whenever you stepped into your own bunker the first time, and you actually, you inside and you're like, wow, this is my bunker. I can do anything I want here. What was that moment like for you?
Well, I'm a very pragmatic person. The moment I entered the bunker is not like, wow, I'm in the bunker. No, that's where's the airlock, you know, just like pragmatic. I'm not, for myself also, I'm a very easy thinking person. I always think about the next step. I don't know if the viewers ever experienced Cursor. Cursor is a program that you can use to make websites, for instance. You can make all kind of projects in it, but if you make a website and you say, okay, this page is a mess, all the names are mixed up, I want you to sort it from A to Z. Then what he does do is similar to how I see what I do for myself. It's not the presentation is not good. I will sort it from A to Z. Let's check the names. I see the names, I sort the names, I display the names, problem solved. That is about how I go on every step in the way. If I see something, I do something similar. How to solve it? I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. Next. And then all these Lego blocks, these small problems that I solve, I pack together to reach the bigger goal.
So you basically you operate kind of like a computer system, like you said before. It's like there's not too many emotion, there's not too many thought behind it. It's more so you see the problem. Like for instance, you got the bunker and the bunker wasn't renovated. It didn't have certain things ready. Maybe the locks on the doors were old, or maybe, so instead of you coming in and saying, wow, I achieved my dream of having a bunker, and you had feelings about it, it was more like, now I have the bunker. How do I make it efficient? How do I make it work for my benefit? How do I lock it correctly? How do I have the air ventilation? How do I set it up to make it look the way I like it, So that's I like your answer, because most people will be, yeah, I've been dreaming about this all my life. I finally got the bunker. I had a party, but the first thing you did, basically, you have a Porsche, and instead of being excited about the Porsche, you want to go under the hood and see how did they put the motor together for the Porsche to work this great, So that sets you apart from the average guy, And I think the audience loves this, to hear, why is this guy different? Why is he special? How does he think? And so I really like this conversation so far, because you are touching on things that gives us insight into your mind, why do you do certain things the way you do them? So I really enjoy this. Another thing I want to ask, or that I have on here, is that your name, Mr. X, Mr. Privacy, or Xennt, that wasn't your original name you were born with, right?
That's correct. My father had not much fantasy, and my mother either. Of course, I have the same name as my father originally as a baby.
Okay.
And then they started calling me Xennt. And don't ask me why. It was not a computer game, because computer games didn't exist in that time. It was a very early stage in my life. And my parents also called me Xennt. Everybody called me Xennt. Yeah, and when I went to school, no, the teacher was just the first thing a little like, oh, okay, then I call you Xennt. But then later, when I finished school and I went into the business and I had to sign agreements, Mr. Xennt, I want you to sign with your own name. And then I had to explain, this is my name. Yeah. And then I had to show my passport in order to convince them that that was my name. And that was not good for business. So then I applied to the Queen of the Netherlands, because in the Netherlands, you cannot change your last name. It is impossible. And the Queen herself has to give permission to change that name, and she will never do that. They already told me so. Xennt, forget it. You will never change your name. I said, well, that are actually the names, the surnames and the first names of my father. And yeah, I never use them, and even my parents don't use it. So what do I do? And then it took me, I think, 5 years or so And I had followed all the same, like I described how to reach my goal. One of my goals was to change my name, to fit it to what is in practice, what they use, what they all used, how they called me. And then after 5 years, with a lot of how do you say that, detours and roadblocks and whatever, finally I got a letter from the Queen of the Netherlands that officially my name was Xentt.
That's amazing.
Ah,
But
and
so
that I officially my name is Xentt.
so but you said that people started calling you Sen very early, but like what does that mean? Like what does it stand for? Where does the word come from? Because it's not a conventional name. I never heard it in my life before. You know, it's not like a second person has this name, or like what is there a meaning to it, or like your mom made it up, or like how did they start calling you this? You came up with this word, or
I cannot disclose how that name came up, but I can tell you one thing, that word, that name doesn't exist. I was, or I am, the only person in the whole world with that name.
exactly.
So
That's why it's
also
so
something nice.
that's really cool. Like, and it's officially your name, so that's what makes it even more cool. It's not like a nickname, like somebody calls you by a nickname and it goes away, or only your friends and family know. But this is actually in your passport. So it was interesting to me to find out what is it, what is because especially you're a computer, like you said, a computer nerd. This name is perfectly like fits who you are. So I was just wondering, like, how did this come about? But if you say that it just kind of popped up as a youth, and then you decided to change your name to it, that's okay.
I was
That's a
determined to change my name, yes, because I was hampered by the name I didn't have. And the name was what was officially mine.
Yeah, this is nice because your name actually means a lot. Like says a lot about your character. A lot of times people have names and then their personality is like the name in some kind of way, and so your name is perfectly who you are. As far as I know you so far, I couldn't see you with any other name. Like if your name was just hi Michael Johnson or something, it wouldn't fit. It would not fit. So this is actually really nice. Another question that I had, you touched for 1 second on the fact that you had a computer store or a hardware store back in the day. I wanted to ask, how old were you and what motivated you to actually have this fascination with something so new like the internet or like hardware for computers? Because as far as I know, whenever you started this hardware store, the internet was a baby. Like no one was actually knew how to use computers, or no one actually had computers at home. So like what made you believe in it so much so early that you went as far as opening a store, and then the store became so successful that you could fulfill your dream of buying a bunker and being a millionaire? And like it's hard. Most people have businesses, they fail in the first 2 years, but you didn't fail because you really believed in this computer thing. So I guess my main question is, what age were you when you started this computer venture, and how did you become successful in it? Because most people fail really early.
I always liked computers, and that's already from the very, very start. And that was at the time that I was a kid and there were no computers. There were only rooms full of stuff. That was the computer.
Excuse me.
The computer at that time could do less than your pocket calculator can do now today. So it was a whole room full of stuff, and it used a lot of energy and produced a lot of heat, and it could calculate a bit if you compare it to now. That were computers, but there were also other things that you can imagine what a computer could do. And that is, for instance, in Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek, you can see a whole spaceship with a computer in it. And that was already, I saw Star Trek and I thought, whoa, look at that thing, all screens everywhere. That's what I want.
Okay.
Immediately, I was in love with computers that did not exist, but they were there in television.
Wow.
And I could imagine that the computers at that time would evolve and would be something like what I see in Star Trek. So I was really fascinated from that, and that is a yes.
Yeah, so
Affirmative.
that's really cool. So you got motivated, like that there are many people who invented things in like that we use now, the cell phone, you know, like how you say, watches that you can talk to, and all these things, they were already depicted in Star Trek, and very early. So whoever the creator is of Star Trek had a vision very early, but his vision actually motivated guys like you to actually go out in the world and create the things that he saw in his vision early on. So that's really cool. I didn't know that that's where your fascination for computing came from. So that's also really nice insight.
Yes, it was 1986. Then I opened my first computer store, because then my study finished. After my study, my parents said, you have to go to work. But I said, well, yeah, you can get a good job. Of course, I had a degree, a bachelor in computer science, and they said, you have to go to work there and there, and you get a good salary. But no, that's not me.
Right.
I wanted to do something with computers. So I thought, I want to buy one. I had some savings from my study period. That was not much. And I could just buy one computer and rent a very small room. Now, this very small room, that was a store with one computer in it, that the one that I bought. I put in the middle, I put some empty cardboards, I put some decoration and some ads and whatever. And it looks like a store, but I had only one computer. And then one customer came and was interested in exactly that computer. So I sold them the computer. Next month, I had two computers because I made some
Money.
profit and I could afford two computers. And then I built it up like that. And like the one, yes, I want a computer for myself already. And if I sell it, even better. But the rest was don't care if I successful. Okay, I wanted to be successful. I wanted that computer store. But all the other things, really all the other things in life, was a don't care. So after 2 years, my mother did do the administration. After 2 years, busy with that, without spending anything, without doing anything else, being there in the computer store, being picked up, brought to my parents to get food, sleep in the computer store, because there was no other thing than that. If I want something, I want it, and then 24/7. So after 2 years, I get a phone call from my bank director, from my bank, how do you say that? Representative. And he said, Mr. Xentt, you have already for quite some time 2 million on your bank account. If you put it in a separate account, you get more interest. I think, oh, okay, thank you. I will think about it. Ma, I have 2 million in my bank account. Yes, and why didn't you tell me? Well, you didn't ask. Okay. So I was becoming a millionaire without me knowing it, without me actually caring for it, because I cared about the computers. Of course, I wanted to be successful. I did do everything to make the shop successful. But then, of course, I started holding daughter companies, open shops everywhere, and then I had a computer chain. So if you want something and you really want it and you do everything to get it, you might succeed. And if you are successful, you don't, like me, you don't even know that you are so successful.
So the part of your success is basically the fact that your mom was doing the administrative work, and that kind of took your didn't take your focus. So you can focus on the computers and the hardware and things like this. And your mom worried about the shop running efficiently and like orders being ordered and being filled and, like you said, administrative work. So that way you didn't even know how much money you made. You were just every day doing what you do, and your mom was handling the paperwork. And one day you wake up and you're a millionaire.
Yeah, I got a phone call from the bank to be to make me aware that I was a millionaire.
That's amazing. And then so what was the next thing? So when for the bunker, you know, whenever after you said after you had the stores and now you made some money, and then you still had this fascination with bunkers, so you decided you want to now go on maybe online or in the newspaper and see if you can actually acquire a bunker, because now you're a millionaire and you want to play with the money. Or what was the motivation behind looking for a bunker besides the fascination and like it's super cool to just have a bunker? Was it also the security of the bunker and like being secluded and having your space and not being bothered from the outside? Or was it more so just a childhood dream? It's super cool, I got my own bunker.
Yeah, part of everything. It is always very difficult if I ask you, for instance, why you say to me, I like vanilla. I ask you, why do you like vanilla? And that's a difficult question because you like vanilla because, yeah, you like it. There is no why you like vanilla because you like it. Now, why do I like bunkers? Because I like them. If you never have tasted vanilla in your life, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know that it exists. Like me, I was a kid and then I saw a bunker from the Second World War in the Netherlands. And I thought, whoa, what the is that? And well, that's an indestructible building. Now, indestructible as a
Super
child.
cool.
Oh,
Super
yeah,
cool.
super cool. And then I see these concrete things were abandoned, mysterious, dark, and big. I thought, wow, why don't people want to live in there? Because it's much more excited than my home that I have with my parents.
For sure.
My parents, are you crazy? We're not going to live in a bunker. No, but I want that. I want a bunker. So that was as a kid. And later on, without me noticing, I had become a millionaire. I first opened much more shops in the Netherlands, in Belgium, etc., etc. Now an assembly line, an own wholesale, a own processor wholesaler, a lot of things. But then I sold it all, and I thought, what can I do now? And I bought a bunker. I just have a broker. I ordered the broker. If you ever see a bunker, notify me because I want to have one. And he didn't ask me, why do you want to have one, Mr. Xentt? But if I say I want to have one, he sees an opportunity to sell me something because
sure,
he's a
money.
broker and he does do his job. So he came up with a bunker and I was immediately in love with that thing because I got some drawings. Walls, thick, nuclear protection made for the Third World War and NATO bunker, ABC filtering, everything on it that you could wish for, and it was big. No, I thought only one thing, that one is mine.
Gotta have it.
Yeah, and just because I like bunkers. Yeah, why do you like bunkers? Yeah, why do you like vanilla? So I wanted that bunker.
Okay, I understand. And then so once you kind of already touched on it earlier, you said once you got the bunker, you weren't 100% sure. Well, now I have this bunker and I can basically renovate it the way I want it. I can make it look like Enterprise, on Star Trek or something. And I can basically fulfill my dream of having my own how you say, like your headquarters or something, And so one of the things that you did with the help of your friend or the mad genius guy you said was that you added some data centers that would provide servers, and then basically your main business model was resistance to intervention, which means no one should interfere with the people using the servers. So was the motivation behind that like a libertarian idealism, or was it more like a business opportunity, knowing that no one is providing this type of service, I can provide the service, it's going to make money because we are the only ones doing this? Or was it more like, I want everyone to have privacy, I want them to be free, I don't care, I will just provide this service?
Yeah, first of all, he was not really helping me. He just was coming into the bunker because he liked also bunkers. And he was more like, yeah, he's a destructive person. He has also destructive thoughts. He never helped me. He only gave me the idea. And he gave me the idea actually not to help me, but hey, that's a cool idea. I would do that if I would have a bunker. And I thought, well, that's a good idea. Libertarian, well, yes, of course, also, but also a business view, because it is very noble if you have a goal. It's very noble if that goal is to help others, but it is no use if you cannot reach your goal because it's too idealistic. For the data center, it was business-wise, it was good. And of course, it was also helping people to get their server online. And it was not actually meant as a dark net something or for gray sites or so, because that was in the year 2000. Remember, in the year 2000, there were data centers, but not very much. And there was no dark net. The dark net did not exist. The internet just came along. Because I remember in 1997, that is shortly before I bought that bunker, then I was first confronted that the shops should have a website. And then the shops got websites and I got email. So that is in 1997. And then it was all brand new. And in the bunker, yeah, a data center for all these web servers that were not serving the internet yet as now is, yeah, something special. It was a niche market. And it was not intended for any darknet because there was no darknet. It was not intended for criminals. It was not intended to protect people against something. Of course, there was nothing to protect people from. It was only meant as a secure data center.
Nice. If you could go back in time travel, and speak to the 25-year-old Xennt before the bunker, before all of these things, before the success, is there any message that you have for him that you would tell him before any of these, any of this future actually unfolds?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say never go to Germany.
That's the only thing, or also don't listen to some of the crazy friends, maybe?
No, everything was fine till the Germans interfered. So if they didn't interfere, then everything went according to plan.
I see. Okay, and also, like, compared to back in the days, you were a younger guy, you maybe had different ambitions. Was freedom and privacy like the motivation for you to care about it? I remember you told me the story, the Singapore situation, everybody's listening on everything. So that was your motivation back then. Now that it's the year 2025, do you still have the same, how you say, do you still have the same, does freedom and privacy still mean the same thing to you? Or has your meaning behind it changed?
Well, the Germans make my goals become more determined than ever before, because now I am determined to reach the goals, because I have witnessed that there are also people who think differently, who don't care about privacy, who don't care about other people, who don't care about anything except for their own career. So yes, now I'm even more motivated to reach my goals. That's the only difference.
I just only have one last question, which is a personal question of mine. I ask people this sometimes, friends, and when I'm interested in someone, I always ask them, if you, especially because your name, Mr. X, sounds like an X-Men or something. If you had any superpower, or if you had any, if you could be any super villain or superhero, is there one that you would want to be or would want to have?
Well, I'm not thinking in that level, because what you ask is impossible, but I can try to imagine something.
Yeah, like there's only like if you are a superhero, you got Superman, he can fly, he can see through walls or something, you can be invisible. You can, I don't know, anything that you could be. Like maybe you have the mega mind and you can think of everything better than a computer, or anything like this. You could make fire with your hands, or you can fly, or anything. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
That is something that does not exist. Now, that is fantasy, and I have a lot of fantasy. So what I imagine myself to be as a kid, what is impossible, of course, that is a pan-dimensional being. And a pan-dimensional being means that you are there inside the galaxy and outside the galaxy, outside the universe, because time is not relevant. Dimensions are not relevant. Anything is not relevant. Even matter is not relevant. So you exist longer, and you cannot talk about longer because time is irrelevant, but longer than the universe, outside the universe. Let's say that. So that was what I would like to be as a kid.
Like an omnipresent. So I guess you kind of, I guess now you are not that because you have a body, but sent inside who you are inside, the the thing that gives yourself light, I guess. People call it a soul or whatever. The little voice in your head that's whenever you close your eyes and your mouth and you scream your name, you can hear it. That means something is inside of you that you can talk to. So this little character is basically like an omnipresence, and that's crazy. You thought about that as a kid already. That means, you know, your consciousness is very already, whenever I guess you came to this earth, your consciousness was already more expand than the average kid if you thought of this. Because most kids would say, hey, I want to fly, or I want to be invisible so I can see naked girls, or you know, whatever. You never know. But that's amazing. I really appreciate that answer. And I think like so far that concludes our conversation. I hope that all these recordings actually worked. I hope the video is actually recorded. I will try to figure it out now. And I can't wait for our next talk. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. And hopefully the next time we meet, I will have some different questions that will even tell us even more, maybe more about the technology, more about, you know, you say you a nerd. I'm pretty sure there are nerds following. I'm pretty sure nerds want to know what's the code, how does he do it, what program does he use, what computer does he have? Does he have an alien computer? Does he have an Apple? Does he, you know?
I would like to ask the people to send in questions, because I hope the people like this, really, but I really would like to answer the questions that the people really would like to see answered. So I ask all the viewers, send in your questions, then I can answer it.
Okay, and do you have a place where you would like to receive those messages, or is it just basically under, let's say maybe in the comment section under this video, or would you like to have them emailed or to like a certain place, or probably just comment under this video and tell us what questions you would like to hear next?
If you just email them to info@creo.ws, then the team will process them and you will get all the questions.
Okay, and then we will have them answered in another video call like this,
Yeah.
or would you just like to answer them in some kind of email version? If you don't mind, I really enjoy having these conversations, and maybe we can make this into, I don't know, a weekly or bi-weekly thing, and maybe we can have conversations about even other things. I know this time we had a conversation that touched more on who you are as a person. How does your mind work? But we also went back to the whole bunker situation and kind of spoke more about this. But I think there's so much more to you as a person and also as a genius as far as the computing goes and coding and these things. And I don't know, maybe these are also questions that people would like to have answered. So I would say everyone feel free to leave comments, to email, to whatever questions you have. Just you know where to find us. We have Instagram, or Mr. Xennt has Instagram. There's YouTube channel for CREO, and there are many ways for you guys to contact us or get in touch with the CREO team.
I enjoyed this conversation too, and let's do that again because yeah, I enjoyed it. I hope the audience also enjoys it.
Yes, I hope so too. So we'll see what comes from it, but I believe this is very very insightful, and these talks are really cool. I mean, there are really big podcasts that invite guys like you that are kind of special and have their own little lane in life, you know, and they speak for 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. Like Elon Musk went to Joe Rogan and spoke 4 hours, you know, so that means people care. This is the interview that they had was one of the most watched interviews on earth. That means that people care about nerds telling their story, because Elon Musk is definitely a nerd. I want to say he's even autistic, and he's like a little, you know, a little way off from regular humans. But people care about this because people love individuality. I think individuality is the biggest energy that anyone can have because it makes you who you are. Everybody only has a fingerprint and an eyeball that only exists one time on Earth, and yours is even more special than most of the people. So I think that the audience would love to have more insight into who you are and how you operate.
I certainly don't think like the majority of the people, that's for sure.
For sure. So I want to say thank you so much for this time. And hopefully I see you again next week. If not, then in a week after that, I will prepare some questions, and hopefully the audience will give us more questions that they really want to hear. So far, the questions that I asked are basically me as a fan wanting to know, who is this guy? Why is he different? How in the world did he come up with all of these ideas? And to me, this was very interesting. So I hope the audience also enjoyed it as much as I did and as much as you did. And we'll come back with even cooler questions and answers next time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. X, and we'll see you soon.
Till next time.
Bye.